A neighbor slipped me a note as I got home. You deserve to know the truth. Attached was a USB drive. I plugged it in and watched security footage of my wife sneaking a man into our home. The final clip? Her kissing him. She came home an hour later to an empty closet and divorce papers waiting on the pillow. I live in a quiet cul-de-sac in Plano, Texas. Nice little neighborhood. Neighbors wave, lawns stay mowed. Nothing too exciting most days. I'm 43, work in IT, and I've always lived a pretty steady life. My wife, Megan, and I had been married for 11 years. No kids. We tried, didn't happen, and eventually made peace with that. Megan worked from home, freelance graphic design. Always busy, headphones on, typing away in her little office upstairs. We weren't perfect, but I thought we were okay. You know? We talked during dinner, binge watch shows together. She loved reality TV. I didn't, but I watched it because it made her laugh. That kind of marriage. I thought we were good. That's why what happened completely flipped my world inside out. It was a Friday. Normal day. I had picked up takeout from Hutchins Barbecue on my way home. Walked up to the door, and I noticed something odd, a little folded piece of paper stuck in the crack between the door and the frame. I opened it up. You deserve to know the truth. A neighbor, attached to the note, was a tiny USB stick taped to the back. My first thought was spam, or maybe someone playing a joke. I almost tossed it, but the handwriting was shaky. The kind of shaky you get when your hands are nervous. And that made me pause. I stepped inside, put the food down, and stared at that USB for a while. Megan was out, said she was meeting a client for coffee. I figured, what the heck? Plugged it into my old laptop. It was security footage. From my house. Angles I'd never seen before, my front door, my hallway, even the staircase. Someone had set up a camera pointed straight at the front entrance. I watched, clicking through files labeled with dates and times. Then I saw it. Megan, opening the door for a man I didn't recognize. Tall, early 40s maybe. Kind of guy with a perfect smile. She greeted him like he was an old friend. No hesitation. They talked for a minute. Then she led him upstairs. My stomach tightened. Another clip, them sitting in our living room, laughing. He puts his hand on her knee. She doesn't move it. Instead, she leans in. Next file, our bedroom. She kissed him. Right on our bed. I shut the laptop. It felt like the air was thick around me. I didn't move for what felt like hours. The barbecue on the counter had gone cold. I couldn't breathe right. My hands were shaking. I had so many questions, but no real answers. Just a neighbor's note and video proof that my life wasn't what I thought it was. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. Instead, I got up and started packing. Took every piece of clothing I owned. My work stuff. Toothbrush. Favorite books. All of it, into my truck. I left the closet empty. I went back inside, walked up the stairs, pulled out a blank piece of paper, and wrote. I saw everything. Divorce papers are on the way. Then I left the divorce paperwork right on her pillow. Already printed, already signed. I moved out that night. Slept in a cheap hotel off Highway 75. Next morning, I went to my lawyer's office and had the papers submitted. The next day, I got 3 missed calls from Megan. Didn't answer. Then came the texts. Where are you? What's going on? Why is the closet empty? Then she called again. I finally answered. Her voice was already halfway to crying. What happened? What's going on? I didn't say anything for a second. Then I just asked. How long has he been coming to our house? Silence. Then a whisper. You weren't supposed to find out like this. That made my skin crawl. So it's true. More silence. Then, I didn't mean for it to happen. I hung up. I didn't yell. Didn't argue. I just cut the line. Felt cleaner that way. Over the next week, I stayed with my brother in Frisco. He didn't ask questions, just gave me space. Megan tried to email, apologizing, saying she was confused, and it just happened. She even claimed she'd tell the guy to leave, that she wanted to fix things. But it was too late. I had already seen who she really was. Funny thing is, I found out later from the neighbor who left the note. It was an older woman 2 houses down, Mrs. Pinsweet Lady. She said she noticed Megan getting cozy with that same man more than once when I wasn't home. She felt guilty not telling me sooner. But honestly, I'm glad she did. Because that USB gave me the clarity I didn't know I needed. I didn't shout or break things. Didn't post anything online. I just left. Quiet. Clean. We're still technically married for now. But my lawyer says the papers are in motion. Texas isn't a hard state for divorce when you have no kids and solid proof. I told Megan I wouldn't fight over anything. She could keep the house. I just wanted out. People think revenge has to be big, loud, messy. Sometimes, the best kind of revenge is silence. Leaving without a word. Letting them live with the echo of everything they broke. Still want to hear the rest? It had been 3 weeks since I moved out. The paperwork was filed. Megan hadn't contested it, at least not yet. I didn't expect her to. We hadn't spoken since that call. I blocked her number after that. Changed my email. Changed my Netflix password. Too small thing. But it felt good. I was staying in a short-term rental near downtown Plano. It was small, barely furnished, smelled a little like old coffee grounds and lemon cleaner, but it was quiet. Peaceful. I needed that. Then I got a letter in the mail. Handwritten envelope. No return address. I opened it. Inside was a card. Blank on the front. On the inside, in shaky handwriting again, you missed something. Same neighbor. And taped to the bottom? Another USB drive. My heart started pounding all over again. Not out of fear this time. Something else. Curiosity mixed with that same thick feeling in my throat. I plugged it into the laptop. More footage. I saw Megan again. This time she wasn't with the guy. This time, she was in the backyard. On the phone. Pacing. The camera must have been set up through a window. You could hear muffled audio. Barely, but enough to make out some of the words. He left. No, the papers were just there. I don't think he knows about the money yet. I froze. Money? She kept pacing. If he finds the second account, he'll lose it. No, I had to keep it somewhere. I moved it before he even noticed. My chest felt tight. What account? I paused the video and opened up my bank's website. I checked our joint account. Nothing unusual. Then I logged into my own personal savings. Still fine. Then I remembered something. Years ago, when we were thinking of starting a business together, we opened a secondary checking account. We never used it. At least, I thought we didn't. I found the login buried in an old password manager file. It worked. When it opened, my stomach dropped. Over $42,000 in there. The last deposits? All spaced out over 6 months. Small amounts. A few hundred here. 1,000 there. All transfers from our joint account. Quiet. Hidden. Every deposit labeled something like project expenses or client refund. She had been skimming money from our shared finances for months, slipping it into this forgotten account. Not enough to raise alarms, but enough to build up a stash. And the worst part? My name was still on that account, which meant technically, half of it was mine. I didn't know what to feel. Anger? Betrayal? Stupid for not noticing? I stared at that number on the screen for a long time. Then I called my lawyer. He wasn't surprised. Seen this kind of thing before, he said. People start planning their exit before you even realize there's something to exit from. He advised me not to move the money. Yet, just document everything. Take screenshots. Back it all up. Then he said something that stuck. You already walked away once. But now she's made it financial. That's a whole different kind of fight. I was never a fight kind of guy. But something inside me shifted. Quietly. Firmly. If she wanted to play this like a game, then fine. I could learn the rules, too. I contacted the bank the next day. Set up a tracker on the account. Any movement would send me an alert. And I waited. A week later, I got one. She tried to move $7,000 out. Into a new account. Different bank. I froze the transfer. She must have found out, because less than an hour later, I got a message from an unknown number. You froze the account? Seriously? We could have worked something out. I didn't reply. Next thing I know, I get an email from her lawyer. She was trying to amend the divorce filing. Claimed that she had contributed significantly to our shared assets and that I had unfairly removed access to jointly acquired funds. She wanted half of my personal savings now. Not the joint stuff. My own money. That's when I knew. She was desperate. And desperation makes people sloppy. I didn't even need to dig too deep. Turns out she had been claiming on social media that she had left a toxic marriage and was starting fresh with her soulmate. Posted a picture of her and that same man, laughing, drinks in hand, out at some rooftop bar in Dallas. Not smart when you're in the middle of a contested divorce in Texas. My lawyer printed out every post. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. Mrs. Penn, bless her heart, came by again. This time she knocked. She brought cookies. Oatmeal raisin. Sat with me in the kitchen like a grandmother dropping wisdom. Then she told me something that flipped everything sideways. You know the man she was seeing? That's not just some guy. That's her boss. From her last contract job. I blinked. She told you she worked for herself, right? Mrs. Penn asked. She does. But sometimes she takes short-term work from agencies. That guy? His name's Darren. He runs a small marketing firm out in Richardson. She paused. Took a bite of her own cookie. Here's the kicker. His wife? Teaches at the same school as my daughter. PTA president. They've got 3 kids. My stomach dropped again. This wasn't just sneaking around. This was career-level mess. Darren wasn't just cheating on his wife. He was doing it with someone he had hired. Someone he might have paid with company money. This wasn't my fight anymore. But it gave me leverage. And I used it. I told Megan, through my lawyer, that I'd agree to a full asset split. No fighting. She could keep the house. Keep the car. I'd walk away with my own savings and no drama. But I wanted the $42,000 account split 50/50ths clean. Legal. And if she pushed back, I'd let Darren's wife know what kind of projects he was funding out of the Richardson office. She folded. I got my half of the money. She signed the new agreement within 2 days. The silence after that was louder than anything else. I thought that was the end. But just last week, I got a call from a blocked number. I usually ignore those. This time, I answered. A woman's voice came on. You don't know me, but I think we need to talk. I'm Darren's wife. I just stared at the phone. You're not the only one who got a USB. I sat down, heart pounding again. This wasn't over. Not yet. The call with Darren's wife didn't go how I expected. Her name was Marcy. Soft voice, like someone exhausted but too wired to rest. You could hear it in the way she spoke, polite, but with a kind of quiet steel behind every word. I'm sorry to bother you, she said. I got your name from my husband's email. He had some interesting correspondence saved. I didn't say anything, just listened. A neighbor of mine found something strange. A man dropping off a package at our mailbox late at night. Turns out it was a USB stick. Footage. I think the same person who helped you is helping me. That made the hairs on my arm stand up. Mrs. Penn? Or someone else? Either way, someone was out there collecting receipts, and not just for me. Darren's been telling people I'm mentally unstable, that I made everything up. But this footage? This proves it. I didn't know what to say. Then she said something that changed everything. There's more than just him, and your wife. My heart dropped. He's done this before. At least 3 women. All contractors. All short-term hires. One of them left the industry completely. Another had a breakdown and moved back to Illinois. I only found that out because I started reaching out after I got the footage. She paused. Took a breath. Megan isn't just someone he had an affair with. She helped him cover it up. She said she found emails, ones where Megan was giving him tips on how to erase paper trails, how to move bonus payments under other expense names, even how to send Venmo transactions that looked like reimbursements. Suddenly, I realized the $42,000 wasn't just from our joint account. Some of it had come from his company. And that put me in a weird spot, because that account was still legally tied to me. And if someone started digging through financial records, I'd be holding part of the bag. That's when panic kicked in. I called my lawyer immediately, told him everything. He was calm, too calm, honestly, and said, you might need to get ahead of this. Within 2 days, we prepared a full voluntary disclosure, showed the account history, screenshots, statement that I had no knowledge of the other deposits until recently, offered to cooperate fully if it came to an audit or legal inquiry. I sent a copy to Marcy, too. Then I waited. That weekend, Megan emailed me. Subject line, we need to talk. Urgent. I almost didn't open it. Inside, just 2 sentences, they froze my accounts. Everything's locked. What did you do? I didn't reply. A few hours later, she showed up at my door. Somehow found the rental. I didn't let her in. Talked through the screen door. Her face was pale. Not angry. Not defensive. Just empty. He cut me off, she said. Darren. Said his lawyer told him I was a liability. Like I'm the one who started this. She looked me in the eyes. I didn't know it was going to blow up like this. I stared at her, quiet. Let the silence hang. I thought we were just keeping it quiet, like, off the books. I didn't think, he said it was normal. That he did it all the time. I asked her one thing. Why didn't you tell me about the money? She blinked. Swallowed. Because I thought I'd need a way out someday. That hurt more than anything. Not because it was cruel. Because it was honest. She left without another word. Then a week later, I got a certified letter. From Darren's company. It was a formal notice. They were being audited. A third-party firm had been hired. My name was on the ledger, tied to that old business account. They requested documentation. I called my lawyer again. We sent everything, copies of every file, emails, timestamps, bank statements. I even offered a sworn affidavit. And then came the twist I really didn't expect. That mysterious neighbor? The one who had dropped off the USBs? It wasn't Mrs. Penn. I found out one night when I got a knock at the door. It was a young guy, maybe 27, thin, nervous, hoodie pulled up even though it was 80 degrees outside. He introduced himself as Tyler. Said he used to date one of Darren's ex-contractors. A woman named Casey, who had moved away after some sort of breakdown. I saw what it did to her, he said. She was so confident. Then he just wrecked her. Told her she was crazy, ruined her name at work. He looked me in the eye. When I found out your wife was one of his, too, I started watching. Figured maybe someone else needed a heads up before it happened again. He had installed those cameras. Hidden, outside facing. Legal in Texas, since they didn't show private spaces, just the public view of entrances and windows. He said he had done it before. For other people. Never asked for money. Just wanted the truth out. I didn't know what to say. I thanked him. Shook his hand. He left. And now? Now, the audit's ongoing. Darren's company is under pressure. Megan's freelance accounts are frozen. I heard Marcy filed for divorce, too. But the part that keeps me up at night? That $42,000 account still shows my name. Even if I handed it all over tomorrow, I was once connected to their mess. And people don't always care if you were innocent. They just want someone to blame. But I'm ready for that now. This isn't over. And maybe it's not revenge anymore. Maybe it's just me, refusing to be a footnote in someone else's story. Let me know if you want me to continue. Because the next move? It's not mine anymore. It all came to a head the day of the audit meeting. I wasn't supposed to be there. I was just a third-party witness with prior financial ties to a suspect account. But Darren's company insisted I come in and speak with their forensic auditor. Just a formality, they said. I sat in a glass-walled conference room on the 17th floor of a tower in Richardson, the city spread out below me. Cold water bottle. Legal pad. 2 men in suits asking calm but loaded questions. I kept it honest. I told them everything I knew. Showed emails. Shared the call logs. Backed up my timeline. I thought that would be it. But then the door opened. And she walked in. Megan. I hadn't seen her in over a month. Her hair was tied back. No makeup. Hollow eyes. A woman who used to spend hours perfecting her image now looked like she hadn't slept in days. Behind her, Marcy, Darren's wife. And then, last in, Darren himself. For a second, no one moved. It felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. The auditor broke the silence. We thought it best to let all relevant parties speak openly, given the financial overlap. Megan sat across from me. Darren, beside her. Marcy stood. Wouldn't take a seat. I could barely process what was happening. But the Real bomb dropped less than 10 minutes in. The auditor asked Darren about the consulting payouts that had been routed through a shell account over the past year. Darren shifted, crossed his arms, didn't speak. So the auditor turned to Megan. Ms. Chambers, you received several of these funds through a jointly owned account with your ex-husband. Were you aware of their origin? Her eyes flicked to me, then to Marcy, then back to the table. Yes, she said. The room went still. I knew, she continued. Darren said it was cleaner this way, that if anyone looked, it'd just seem like I was being paid through my own channels. He said the company would never trace it back. Darren's face turned red. You said you'd handle it, he snapped. You said you'd delete the records. I tried, she yelled, louder than I'd ever heard her. I didn't know you had other women. I didn't know you were using the same method with all of them. Marcy didn't flinch. She pulled out her phone. Hit play. Audio started. A recorded phone call. Darren's voice. Crystal clear. I use Megan the same way I used Casey. The moment it gets too risky, I drop it. They don't fight me. They're too scared. You could hear breathing. Then more. Don't worry, babe. You're the one that matters. The room went silent again. But this time, it felt heavier. Megan looked like she had been punched in the chest. Her hand went to her mouth. Her eyes filled, but she didn't cry. Instead, she turned to Darren. You said I was the only one. His jaw clenched, but he didn't say anything. I ruined my marriage. I lied. I covered for you. And you used me. Darren stood. Fast. I'm not doing this here. He moved for the door, but the auditor raised a hand. You might want to sit. This meeting is being recorded. Darren hesitated, then stormed out anyway. Marcy sat down. No one said anything for a while. Then Megan spoke, quiet, to me this time. I didn't know how far it went. I didn't know he'd been doing this to other people. I didn't reply. She kept going, voice shaking. I told myself I needed options. A way out. I didn't know I was becoming the thing I hated. Still, I didn't say anything. Not because I was angry. I just didn't have anything left to give her. Eventually, she left too. No goodbyes. Marcy stayed. I filed for divorce last week, she said. And I'm suing the company. You'll probably be contacted as a witness. I nodded. You've been honest, she added. I won't forget that. She stood to leave, then paused. One more thing. Your neighbor? The one who helped? Tyler. He's helping Casey now too. There are others. He's not done. After the audit, I went home. The next few days were quiet. No calls. No messages. Just stillness. Then came the letters. One from Megan. Handwritten. Apology mostly. She admitted to everything. Said she wasn't asking for forgiveness. Just wanted me to know the full truth. She said she felt empty. Lost. That she'd built her world on someone else's lies and burned mine to do it. She said, you didn't deserve any of it. And I wish I could go back. I didn't write back. Another letter came later. From the auditing firm. I was cleared of all responsibility. No further involvement needed. My name had been removed from all financial documents tied to the shady account. That felt like breathing after holding it in for too long. Weeks passed. Then months. Darren lost his company. Megan disappeared from social media. Last I heard, she moved back to Austin. Marcy's case went to court. Tyler started a blog. Anonymous, but sharp. Exposing companies who used power the way Darren had. I read every post. As for me, I moved out of the rental. Got a new place, modest, quiet, with no memories attached. Picked up painting again, something I hadn't touched in years. I take walks more often. Cook for myself. Call my brother. There are still days I feel the weight of it. The betrayal. The fact that I didn't see it coming. But there's also a strange calm in knowing how it all unfolded. I didn't fight dirty. I didn't sink to their level. I just told the truth. And let the truth do what it always does. Rise, slowly, until it couldn't be ignored anymore. If you told me a year ago that a folded note and a USB drive would unravel my life, I would have laughed. But now I know the truth doesn't destroy you. The lies do. And the truth? The truth is what saves you, once you're ready to see it.